Introduction to the TVM solver for finance. As I've said before, money over time has value. This is time value of money. So if you have the use of someone else's money over time, they have lost the value of that, and you need to pay them interest to make up for that when you pay back the money. The TVM solver on your graphics calculator is incredibly useful. We are going to use it for things like mortgages, but we'll start with just compound interest, so without extra repayments, to see how it works. So to get to the solver, the apps button, and then just one for finance and one for TVM solver. And the display that you get, as you see, looks like this. So we'll write that in, the apps button, 1, 1. And we'll go through what each of these means and what we need to enter in. So, N is the total number of compounding periods. So if, for example, let's look at this example. Borrowed for 2 years, compounding monthly, that would be 2 lots of 12, which is 24, the total number of compounding periods in the loan, or in the part of the loan that we're looking at. I is the interest rate per annum. I know we've learnt how to change a yearly interest rate to a monthly one, but the TVM solver does that for you, so we definitely put in the interest rate per year. PV is the present value, which is often the principal at the start of the loan. Now we have to come back to talking about the present value, because we do think of it differently when it's a loan or an investment, and we'll do that shortly. But at the start of the problem, what's the present value? So here, it's 12,000. We're borrowing it at the start. PMT is payments. Now this is for things like a mortgage, when you're borrowing money and you're making repayments over the whole time. Or for an investment, when you're investing money and paying more into it, and taking bits out. But we aren't doing this at the moment. There's no extra payments being paid in or out on these problems. So at the moment we're leaving payments at 0. FV is future value. And in these problems, it's what we're solving for. Find the total value in 2 years in the future. Find the total value 5 years in the future. So it's looking at the value of the loan or investment sometime in the future. PY and CY, for all the problems we do, will be the same value, the same number. It's the number of payments per year and the number of compounding periods per year. And we're assuming that if it's compounding monthly, we would be making payments monthly and stuff like that. We wouldn't do two different things. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes a loan is compounded daily but paid monthly. We won't tackle those questions. But it's important to know what these are: the number of compounding periods per year. And I'll come back to that a bit. Now, what I wanted to say about the principle is, if we look at these two problems that we're about to tackle, this one I've borrowed 12,000 and I want to know how much I'll have to pay back. This one I've invested 35,000 and I want to know how much I'll get back. So these are opposites. They're opposite scenarios. And in maths with opposite, especially when we're borrowing money, something's going to have to be negative somewhere. Because I can't mathematically treat these both as being positive. Really, we could. But the rule that we use is, if I currently get the benefit. Look at where the money is for this time. 12,000 is borrowed. I've borrowed 12,000. I've got the value of that money. So when I'm borrowing, I have the value of the money. Put in your present value as positive. So it's for the duration of this loan or investment, who has the value of the money? I've got it for a loan to myself from the bank. If I'm investing, like this one, I've given up the use of that money for 5 years and let the bank keep it. So I don't currently have the use of that money. This is negative. So whether it's positive or negative for the principal, the present value, is whether you currently have the use of the money or whether you don't currently have the use of the money. So both of these are who has the money. Me. That's a good thing. Positive. Not me. Negative. All right, let's tackle some problems. When you do these, your working is going to be a copy of what you put into the financial solver. Find the total value to be repaid when 12,000 is borrowed for 2 years at 7.6% per annum compounding monthly. Now, I have a very strong suggestion as to what order you fill in your TVM solver. I say start with PY and CY because they're easy to get wrong if you glitch out later. They're very easy at the start. You say monthly is when I'm compounding, so both of these are 12. And the idea with the solver is we fill in everything we know and then we solve for the thing that the question is looking for. So the second thing that you can put in is N. I'm just putting a little squiggle next to those there. And N, we'll get back into the TVM solver. I'll go down and put in PY and CY, and you'll see that actually it automatically usually fills in both to be the same. The financial solver will do maths for you. So N is the number of years times PY. The number, or, because it's the number of compounding periods for N. So if it's 2 years and there's 12 months per year, that's 12 times 2. And it's actually worth writing 12 times 2 and typing 12 times 2 into here and hitting enter and getting 24. It stops you making a mistake. So I strongly recommend putting PY, CY and N in first. Then we put in everything else we can get. So 12,000 is my principal, and I have to ask, is it negative or positive? I'm borrowing the money. I get the use of the money. It's positive. 0 for payments, because we're not making any extra payments as we go through the loan. Interest rate, 7.6% per annum. Just put 7.6. And then future value is what the question is asking for. And so we write solve. And to solve, we highlight the 0 on future value and use alpha and enter for solve. And it calculates the future value in negative because I have to repay it. So that's a negative thing for me. I have to repay 13,963. We write that in, negative 13963. It's money, so we go to 2 decimal places, 0.23. And we write our sentence answer based on the question, find the total value to be repaid. Answer, the total value to be repaid. Now, the repaid bit means you owe it. It's negative. So you've already said it's negative in must be repaid. So this goes in your answer as a positive $13,963.23. Next question. Find the total value of an investment of $35,000 compounding quarterly at 5.2% per annum over 5 years. Start with PYCY. It's quarterly, so these are 4 quarters per year. Go to N. It's 5 years, so it's 5 times 4 quarters per year is 20. Interest rate, 5.2. Payments, 0, because I'm not making any extra payments. Present value, it's an investment of $35,000. An investment means I don't have the money. That's a sad thing. I like money. Make it negative. And, excuse me, I'll just have to get out of my, sorry, had to clear something. Apps, finance, TVM solver, put everything in. PY and CY, 4. N, 5 times 4. Double check, yes, I got it right, it's 20. Interest rate, 5.2. You notice how I've written everything down before I get to here so I don't get confused. Present value, use the negative key, not the minus key. No payments, and solve for future value. Alpha, solve. It turns out positive. Let me write that in. Solve. 45316.56. It turns out positive because at the end of this 5 years, I get all that money. That's a positive thing. I like getting $45,000. And we write the answer. The question said, find the total value of an investment. We say the total value of the investment is $45,316.56. That's the TVM solver.